Hello, sorry if it's going to be kind of quiet. I'm trying to not wake people up in my house, and it's kind of early in the morning,
Five,
and I also have a
four,
bunch of
three,
wired
two,
up parakeets who like
one.
to chirp a lot in the
Round
morning,
one.
and I
Capture
don't
the
want to
objective.
activate them, so I'm going to be kind of monotone and quiet here. So, if you like technical analysis, you're in the right place. If you like, to the point, quick tips and content, maybe not this one for you. This is between Citrus Nation and Timeless, and as you probably know from watching Overwatch Championship Series, Citrus Nation comes out on top in this matchup 3-0. And I know both of these teams are very good. I'm familiar with the head coach or one of the coaches of Timeless. He's a, friendly acquaintance of mine, and I was really curious where things kind of, fell apart. So I wanted to go ahead and offer you guys a review of, some of the dynamics that were going on here. And keep in mind, um, this is just kind of my thoughts going gradually through it. I've done a little bit of prep work and watched all of these, but I haven't, I don't have a plan of what I'm going to be talking about necessarily. I'm just going to kind of free feel it. So here pretty early you see two schools of thought with handling this map point. This is how it is in a lot of Koth maps. You have really only two or three options usually with how you could hold. In this case, um, Timeless is going for right side control initially, well, I'll say inside control, while Citrus Nation is going for coast control. So the way that you will see this kind of emerge is, honest, I don't actually know how to, make the epic pen work in Overwatch, but you'll see kind of a pattern emerge here where one team rotates around this way, other team rotates around this way, and then they kind of just hold here while they try to press from here, here, and here, while these guys will try to press from, here, here, and here. Because the idea is fundamentally that these guys want to stop Citrus Nation from rotating further and having, just complete map control and literally, chasing their heels. And same case for Citrus Nation. They don't want to let anyone on this side, have too much power, so to speak. I don't actually know how to. Okay, whatever. That's good enough. I'm sure there's keyboard shortcuts that I just don't know. But um, so right off the bat, you'll see Rocket is kind of deploying out really early here. Um, the reason that he's doing this is because he's actually trying to just mark anyone doing a greedy rotation this way. He was probably more expecting Tap to be working his way through there, or maybe if Lethal was getting greedy. I'm not a huge fan of this, but the reason that he's doing it as opposed to like staying over here is just this he can't really close distance on, so he would have to like, approach from here anyways. But the problem is if he's right now a lot closer to actually being in, so to speak, and positioned more aggressively than the rest of his team. So there is a chance he could get forced out early. Um, Meanwhile, Tap is kind of just, rotating with the team at the moment. So he's in a little bit more chill of a situation, and I think he works his way into like flanks later a bit. So right now we're just kind of seeing the Sojourns farming up Rail Chopper should be pretty close. Yep. Lethal is a little further behind, but they're gonna have plenty of time anyways. Let's just see. So right now Both teams have completed their rotations onto their sides of the map. But notice how Rocket is getting pressed by Lethal here. And this is actually kind of unusual because Lethal shouldn't have been able to get any meaningful damage on him already. Yeah, so he just got jump scared and with the rail. So that kind of bites. That's really nicely played by Lethal. Because normally in, those 1v1 situations, the Sojourn has a pretty significant advantage. But the reason Rocket has to, recall back is not because he's like if he could recall and, continue dueling probably, but then he knows for a fact that, Averting slash Jacob and Tap are gonna be on their way over here in a jiffy to, finish the kill and press him out. So he's actually forced all the way back here, which is ironic because if we had been back here from the start, it probably wouldn't have been so much of a concern. And I'm not sure if it's actually more advantageous to have even staged up here in the first place compared to being here and then blinking this way like now as Lethal tries to play this more aggressively. Because I think maybe it would be better to have Curie or Lucio kind of spamming this corridor down towards top. Orisa here, Sojourn over here, and then I would prefer probably Lucio over here, Curie over here, and then Orisa here, Tracer here. Because then you have a pretty nice catcher, so to speak. So if these guys all rotated this way, your Sojourn, can kind of just tuck back in here for a second and have a crossfire down this corridor. And Orisa has good coverage on that too. And your Tracer can kind of just, pull back to here and it'll get really awkward for Citrus Nation really fast. Citrus Nation, I'm pretty reasonably happy with how they've handled this whole first fight so far, but I don't really like Zeb dropping here at all. I think that's just kind of pointless because, like, the awkward thing with these Orisa comps is you kind of end up in the situation where it's like, well, how much punishment can our Orisa, just eat up while keeping the rest of our team away from that punishment? Because she's really the only one who wants to be contesting a point, except for, sometimes Tracer. Lucio can, do it in under extreme duress, but he's not really like enjoying that job. So a lot of the times you just have these Orisas, just absolutely just like eating damage and you know the real danger comes from disconnecting from your Orisa or having them just taking damage and not having it actually translate into something. So like here, Zeb is like getting chewed on by Rocket, and more importantly, he's getting chewed on now by Chopper the instant he tries to touch point. Meanwhile, Lethal isn't really doing anything. Tap isn't really doing anything. I mean, Tap is, marking this flank technically, of course, but that's like more like a potential pressure thing than an actual pressure. This is very actual pressure that Chopper is putting onto Zeb. And this is why I'm not a big fan of this upper rotation. I don't dislike it. Let me get the straight. I think it's actually very, very strong. But A, it's finicky and like to make sure that you're the first team there, and that's probably why Timeless preferred to take this inner posturing because this is a lot more reliable. Because if you like miss, if the other team gets here first, then you just bite the dust and you just waste time and have to reset this, and it's just awkward and messy. But the biggest thing about here is you can't just drop your tank down here because there's no cover points. Like, and they can't tuck into here because then it breaks LS from, your high ground, so you'd have to have your Curie TP down. And that's not, it's not atrocious, but then the problem is these are really easy for your team to, control with the tank in such a contained position. So Citrus handles it about as best as they could by, dropping their Orisa this way and having them play like this. Um, But the problem here is just that because Timeless has, the control of this massive swath of the map, this isn't actually that safe of a position. So what Tap needs to be doing, honestly, Tap needs to be like over here right now and like clearing out Rocket and like setting up this control of the map. Because right now, Timeless is rotating this way. Remember how we set up our like, our little epic pen rotation thing. So like, hold up, can I, what's the shortcuts? No, why would I disable hotkeys? Control Shift 5, and Control Shift, Control Z. Okay, let's try that. Okay, Control Alt Z. Okay, so Timeless is, these blue guys. So they've rotated their control through here and around to here. And meanwhile, Citrus, they're kind of just staying here. And, they're matching this, but they're not really like, like the thing is Timeless doesn't have anything over here, which is fine for them because they have their Risa, bodyguarding this corner. But then the problem is if because Timeless has the Tracer over here, which I don't know why she's not showing up on the map thing. I guess because of the black hole of death. This actually gets really awkward for Citrus. So unless and like this Kiri is not, consistently gonna force out this Tracer. It's a good shout, and I think it's a good attempt. But I really think here, um, let's see, it was Control Alt 5. No, Control Shift 5. Oh, that's for eraser. Clear screen. Control Shift 7. Very cool. Okay. I am definitely one of the greatest Epic Pen users of all time. Control Z. That's really uncomfortable, the fact that Control Z is also the interface thing. Okay, well, whatever. I might just not use Epic Pen much this review. So yeah, the awkward thing is we have so much of, Citrus Nation's DPS power set up into this one, room kind of and doing nothing. The other option is, you could just load your Sojourn out kind of here. Like, really, you should just have the Soj Lucio here, like, because they're not gonna, like, if you have your Lucio marking here, you don't really need your Tracer here too. So I would be so much like, because we'll see kind of how this, works. Neutral's getting distracted. Neutral's super low. Uncomfortable. So Timeless doubles back. I'm not actually sure what the cue for that was.
The objective is now active. Disrupting. Taking the point.
This is too
Fall in,
aggro
team.
from Chopper, I think. I really dislike the fact that he's the one touching the point here and putting a target on himself when he's probably like the most important person here. I think it really probably should be Riker. I get why it's not because he's not exactly comfort. Like this isn't like a super comfortable place to be hopping out. But I think it would probably be worth committing one cooldown maybe to get that little bit of point progress. Because Chopper almost just gets like eradicated here. See, like that's a common combo that you'll see this matches that Javelin Railgun combo. Chopper could have just, died there, and now he's kind of feeling scared and like forced out from this really good angle to just tear up Zeb because he was like kind of greedy with going for the point control. Like I would rather have had Riker step up here maybe, because he's still dealing with all of the pressure sources from Citrus Nation on one side. Like one javelin spin here can block, all oncoming damage. Not quite so much for Zeb here because of Rocket. So I don't know. I'm getting nitpicky here. I don't want to waste too much time on the small details. Like check out Zeb here. Like because so this is what I was like warning about with that disconnect. This is like, still a connection. Like Neutral and Zeb are, you know, they still have the spine intact, so to speak, of their team. But it's really strained right now. And Tap is rotating in for the aggressive angle. Once again, I really don't like having Chopper as the person touching here. I would almost rather we just don't contest point here at all and get greedy with it. I know it's obviously like a massive advantage if you can capture the point in one of these stale fights, but I think the patience is key. But yeah, this is kind of awkward though because now Chopper is gonna have to look outwards from the fight at top if he wants to deal with this, compared to like if he was still, here. He can look outwards, but he has cover to LOS these guys more. So Chopper is gonna be in a bit of an uncomfortable spot no matter what, I think. CJ and Opener are super cozy and bunkered. Rocket and Riker are really comfortable here. I will say, so this blink in was really greedy, I think. I think he should have, but it did force Suzu, so it's kind of whatever. Okay, yeah, I'm fine with it. He hit the glance backs, and that's what I was just checking for. Because that's kind of risky you don't really ever want to be turning your back on your opponent if you can avoid it. And if you are, it had better have a really damn good cause. That was pretty reasonably good. And I don't think blinking over here would have led to as good of results. So Tap takes, the even longer flank as Chopper presses up. So Chopper ends up, totally fine. But check out Zeb. Like Zeb is getting throttled from three angles here. Both Rocket, Riker, and Chopper are on him with the same timing is the key thing. They're all active at the same time. Meanwhile, we look at Red. Zeb is very, very active. Tap is doing nothing, man. Like this bro is not on the job at the moment. And Lethal is kind of AFK at the moment too. And now these guys are jumping into action probably because, Zeb is like, screaming in agony. But like he's already dead, man. Like they're already too late to the blow. So like the call for Citrus Nation probably needed to be
The
like
objective is now active.
right around now, because now he knows that he's getting farmed by Rocket and Riker. There has to be like some counter action here. So I think Lethal should probably be trying to farm a lot more aggressively here, and maybe even consider dropping to here, or even just dropping to here on point. I know that sounds insane, but this guy's busy, this guy's busy. So it's basically, just Soj Lucio versus Soj Lucio on the point presence. And you also have your Tracer on an off angle help, so that actually could be pretty good. Like, what was Lethal doing here? I guess he didn't have rail because he used it on the Javelin combo earlier. But yeah, so Citrus loses this fight though because they have the Reset really early. So now you're like, well, okay, gee, we just, spent probably 20, 30 minutes talking about, why Timeless, popped off that fight and won. Well, they win this stage of the map. Um, but obviously things go wrong later. But I do want to paint an accurate picture of I think both of these teams performed very well during this series on the whole. Okay, so here now you see Timeless play kind of similar. So they had a very consistent Timeless had a very consistent setup structure here. They pretty much always set up their defense like this, so to speak. defense. Not literally, but like entrenchments in this way. So they always had their full team guarding top, and then Orisa kind of marking here. So this isn't great for holding the point necessarily and keeping people off of it. But as it turns out, that's not really the goal in Overwatch. The goal is, long-term point advantage. So the short term, it's okay to give it up in the short term. This is really nice and secure for Orisa. And Orisa really just has to worry about people over here because as like the forward guard for that. Because if anyone tries to cross point to, punch Orisa, they're just gonna be eating Surge shots from up here. And Rocket can pretty reasonably come over here to help if needed as well. Um, More realistically, everybody is guarding this rotation path, and then Riker marks this rotation path around coast. So you basically have this secure bunker of people able to spam out point, and if people touch the point, Riker can just pull back. He doesn't actually have to contest this. CJ will kind of duck this way to, top him off. Soj and Lucio continue marking here, and then Tracer can kind of just do whatever. But I usually would prefer her looking to be aggressive on this side in this case, because we have our Orisa positioned in a forward way where she can just like proactively mark over here. But of course, if their Tracer goes here, then our Tracer probably needs to, you know, rotate this way to flush that out. So I don't. That's nice for top. So like that's okay, I guess. But like, kind of my question though here is, so you let the point cap a quarter of the way, then Riker touches. But unless I'm tripping, did Rocket just recall back or
Breaking them down. Come on, let's push
like
it
this
out.
dude is doing nothing right now? And don't get me wrong, I'm only soft flaming him because I know. Sorry, that's an alarm that I had. I know Rocket is one of the best tracer players rather in NA. Um, Probably a very reasonable one on the global scale as well. But if your Orisa is getting cooked like this, yeah, their Orisa is getting cooked too. But I think Tap is looking a whole lot more active right now than Rocket. And what like this is what I'm talking about is it's not about just angles because that's like kind of the old NA mindset was just run it down with good timing. New NA mindset, courtesy of Spylo, is kind of just, oh yeah, just angles solve everything. And well, yeah, I mean they do a lot. Um, the thing that matters is positioning in concert, in with like doing things at the same time. You know, monkeys together strong, so to speak. Apes together strong. Sorry, I butchered the quote. So like here, I'm liking the proactivity a lot more from Citrus, but something that you'll notice with Timeless, so Tap, first of all, he cashes out on this. I don't think that's necessarily smart. I don't dislike it, because what he's doing here is he's basically making himself completely immune to this, and he's just committing to farming whoever's on point. So this is great for resting open the point. The problem is that's not like very good for long-term control, because he was actually a lot more dangerous over here, chunking Riker from behind and like threatening CJ from behind and like forcing Rocket's attention this way than being under here. Because being under there, well, he's not really in a position to like be like an unpredictable threat to anyone. So like Riker's getting chunked. Zeb hits the rotation under and Curie TP's under, and this is pretty cute. But it still ends up kind of awkward though, because so Rocket just triple blinks across the map or whatever, which I'm not a huge fan of, but sure. Um, I'd rather have him triple blink this way maybe and just No, he has rail. I don't know. I'm not the massive tracer player, big brain guy, but still just seems a little weird. I don't think he's gonna have much uptime there. But the problem fundamentally though is these guys, parking themselves here. Well, Riker is here, and if Chopper and Opener recognize that, Zeb is just sitting there on point, they can literally just press this with the same timing as Rocket, and that's when Rocket being over here becomes lethal, pun intended, is if Chopper and Opener recognize this and actually just dive him together. Because then at that point, Citrus is just sitting ducks. So Rocket, yeah, Rocket literally just instant recalls. Like that was super pointless. Um, but like look at Lethal kind of just being the lone piece of map control out there, and so Jacob realizes this, and they go back to their pair up. Dude, I am not. What? Why is Chopper going this way? Is he scared of rail? He's worried about marking for the enemy sojourn, but like, dude, you have your tracer and your Curie here already. I think it's gonna be fine, man. I would rather have Chopper just right here looking to farm Zeb as much as possible, or even like swinging here to farm top, or like even rotating this way. You could probably get away with it right now because like who's gonna mark you on top? Like is he just gonna like tap and avertings could maybe double team him, but that leaves Lethal really open to getting farmed by Rocket. And as long as Chopper doesn't like invest his slide over here, he could just like just peace out back up to here where he has the mini and opener, just like has like insane marking value. So you see the flip, but this actually like doesn't end up looking that good still for Citrus because like look at their reach is like fine, but then they have their tracer Soj just kind of sitting there double stacked over on this angle, and meanwhile Chopper is getting like a crossfire on them with his E and his shots as CJ and Rocket come in, and Jacob just slightly, gets forced out of one stream of damage into the other. And he just gets tapped by the angle, the switch up from Chopper, because I think that was either a slide or using speed. Yeah, it's a slide. So he wasn't ready for like that quick rotation, just got caught. Rocket Man, like I don't know. I think maybe he was like had some nerves or something, because that was good. He doesn't have recall out though. Oh, because of his stupid recalls earlier. Like I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of that. I think though at this point, I would rather we just blink back to here. I mean, this isn't really a problem for him. I'm like being super granular here. You know for a fact that their Soj is still over here because you just force them out from here. Um, and you don't have recall quite yet, but he's so close that that's why it's like kind of understandable. Is usually you would assume that within those next 3 seconds, you're probably not gonna be getting forced that badly. But he's worried about the tracer here and like the people on point too much. I would rather he kind of just pulls out until he has a recall again, and not like overly press it, because an advantage is kind of, these are cumulative during a fight. So like the Lucio not being there, you don't have to instantly act on it. I know it's like it's good too because you want to clean things up, get access to the point, but the fact is he doesn't have those personal resources that he needs to be able to be like positioned at the forefront of an angle right now. He has one blink and no recall. If you phrase that in a different situation where like you're like, oh yeah, let's have our tracer, all the way up, pressing the enemy team from the back without recall, no, you know, it looks kind of shaky. It's just kind of unfortunate though. It's not like a huge flaw for him.
This ends
This is
now.
really nice from Riker though. I really liked him kind of pressing over this way to get this angle, because now things have gotten really ugly for Zeb. And so I guess I'll go ahead and I'll explain a little bit of this mid-fight stuff too, because we talk a lot about early fights, but obviously mid-fight matters a lot too. It's just less structured and intentional usually. A lot of this is just intuitive
This
player decisions.
ends.
There's not much that you can like necessarily coach about it, um, or analyze about it. So I liked Riker's rotation to here. The rush I think is pretty good. I would have preferred if it was a little further back maybe, because then Chopper could be at cover while using it rather than having to kind of walk forward. It's okay because they're trying to walk forwards, but it does make him a little easier for Lethal to potentially destroy. I'm not a huge fan of CJ playing kind of wide here and just relying on kunai spam as like his, so to speak, cover. I think is a little reckless. And he does this like a number of times. Like the fact that he has to use Suzu there, I mean, yeah, he's in his rush, so it doesn't really matter. It's just not really like ideal because I don't know. I think he could have probably done. We still probably could have unlocked the point here with a rush going from here to here just as happily. I think this is a terrible counter rush from neutral. I just don't think he was necessarily aware of the situation of the team.
It's go time.
Because he hears their rush and he's like, I'll just counter rush as soon as I get it. And Lethal dies before that, so like he couldn't have reacted to Lethal dying. But if you look at this understanding, you have your tracer here in like a zero ability to do anything angle. Your Soj is literally on top of you. Your Reese is right in front of you with zero cover, already used gold. Nobody is marking this side of the map if someone was to be here, but I guess no one is because you tapped Rocket, so it's kind of whatever. But Riker is here, and like Lethal can't really, like I guess Lethal can like swing this way, and like that would get uncomfortable maybe. But like his team just isn't really positioned in a good way to capitalize on this. His best option probably would have been a rush this way, diagonally across, with then Lethal sliding up here or something, or like sliding to like here. Like no matter what, this just looks really unpleasant for neutral. Oh, so you can actually, yeah. So CJ definitely could have done a rush though, more like that. I think it would have been healthier than the one he did, because he could have then had it some of it back here for Chopper and then having it extend like all the way to here. So I like the positioning of it, but yeah, it just doesn't work with, his team's current positioning because his team isn't really positioned to be able to counterattack this meaningfully. Now they're just trying to get that last dregs point control. I noticed Chopper swinging wide. I don't actually know what happened with CJ there. That looked a little.
Hey.
It's like this is what I'm kind of talking about though, where it's like he's playing out here in the open, just spamming the kunai, and like great, he's spamming the kunai, but like could he not do that from here? You know? Like I get that he wants to get the extra damage, but A, he's not building any ult charge because he's using his rush currently. I would kind of rather just have him here, like doing the kunai spam, to deny these guys, or maybe like spam out tap a little more, like just make sure he stays alive. Because the fact that he's like just catching a javelin here, I think that's like insane. He should just like be here or like be here somewhere where like it's okay to use that a little bit while he had his Suzu up. And I know he has it like back right now, but then he uses it and then he has to panic TP and like just has nothing.
Under my protection.
And then shocker, these guys recognize that and chase him down. That was kind of whatever. I mean, obviously his team is winning the fight, so maybe it just seems overly picky, but it was just kind of sloppy, man. And like that almost gave them a chance to uh gave Red a chance to come back here. But it's fine because Zeb kind of just gets, cooked. Nicely won by time loss. You'll see them reset into that same setup that they had before. Except this time they start Riker up here and then drop him back later. Okay, like this, once again though, like I'm looking at Rocket and I'm like, okay, this great, delightful. I don't mind this at all. So this is functionally that same exact setup, but you have just Tracer being this mark here instead of Orisa. And Orisa rotates this way too. You just have Tracer preemptively being that additional marking, and I think that's totally fine and healthy. Because reasonably, Soju, Lucio, Curie can handle whatever comes up here, short of like a full team. And even a full team rotation for Citrus would be risky because of the Lucio on Coast. So they probably won't do this, and even if they did, the Sojin stuff, they can easily just flip the map, so it's like totally chill. But then, like, what does he see? They use slide. Like, dude, I'm not a fan of this. I think this is really sloppy. Like, I know that he wants the pulse bomb on lethal, and that's like a huge play. But the fact, and he can't, blink in this way, obviously, because lethal's marking that. But like blinking in here, like, dude, you're having no uptime with that. You're like disregarding your job on so many levels. So comparatively, imagine if A, Rocket wasn't looking this way, because it doesn't really matter. It was like just looking this. Imagine if he had blinked here instead. Because then if Lethal looks this way at all, he's getting tapped by CJ. And the setup on the pulse would be literally like unimaginably easy, and he has the mini. Or even if he had blinked back this way, because then he has this as a reapproach option. Lethal's kind of got to guess which. If he looks this way, he's still taking some shots from CJ. Like, that's super chill. But this is just, I think this is just really bad, man. Like, there's just no chance of that succeeding. And even more so, okay, it could have been a lot worse actually, because I just was like, it is a good timing at least, because he's taking a lot of fire off of Riker here. But by the same note, something that I'm not as big of a fan of is what Chopper is doing in the meanwhile.
Dodge this.
Because like he's doubling back to here and losing his rail charge, and like when I think he could just stay here, man. He could just sit here farming Zeb, probably land a headshot on neutral here without much issue, or just land a tap on Jacob in here as he's rotating through, like tap or someone, or just hold it hostage, you know, just keep pocketing the rail. And I think that would probably be better than trying to contest this. But then the reason that he probably feels like he has to do this is in part probably because Rocket isn't doing his job and isn't marking this like he should be. Like he's trying to like, you know, go for aggressive kills and stuff, and this is giving Lethal and friends more time to like be able to rotate here uncontained and like actually pose a threat to CJ and Riker from the multiple angles. And it's kind of ugly. And thus as a result, we just don't really have a very nice looking setup here. So
This
now we kind
end.
of swing around like we did last time. Tap ends up really isolated. Kind of the issue here with the reason that results is because he's thinking, okay, we're gonna hold this down, you know? And this is really nice from Tap. I like this a lot because this gives Lethal so much security here. Because if anyone pushes him from main, well, Zeb and Neutral have him covered, and if anyone pushes him from this side, Tap has them covered. So Blue has to send people around this way to clear out Tap, and Tap can just blink back here and kind of play this room, and Lethal and him have like really good cover here. Um, and it'll just waste a ton of time for Blue to actually get Lethal and Tap, you know, unanchored. Your Tracer is kind of like your chess piece that you're using to protect your, you know, more important chess piece like Lethal.
This.
But then, of course, Chopper pops the OC, and Lethal kind of just, you know, pieces out, and this is really unfortunate because it means Tap ends up super splintered. Yeah, and like there's just nothing you can do there because like look at how active Tap is in terms of like remember I said apes
This
together
end.
strong. If one person is active, everyone should be active. Tap is not able to be inactive here. Like he just doesn't have the choice or the luxury, unfortunately. I would rather, if he can recognize that all this attention is on him, I would almost rather just have Red inting in here onto Riker because I think that has a better chance of success. I mean, it's a slim chance. Let me be real, but um, it's you know a chance at least. Yeah, they just got to back this up right off as a loss. Am I tripping or did Rocket almost die there? Maybe I was tripping. Yeah, I must have been misseeing things. So here, this is pretty good. Red kind of has the same thing of Tap being inside again. Once again, I'm still not a huge fan of it. Rocket's going in on the aggro angle. That's pretty cool. Okay, this is really nice. I like this a lot from Lethal. I thought this was a really clean play. So Riker, I think, is in a little too deep. I'd rather he just keep cleaner LOS on CJ. So, alright, he recognizes that and pulls back. So this is, I would say this is a mistake from opener though. So, like, because reasonably this shouldn't have been, you know, able for it to. This poke is all chill. But this is too aggro. This is peeking. This isn't really doing his job. He's not close to beat. We're in final fight. He shouldn't really be worrying about that. He should really be watching this or like poking from back here, you know, a more contained, safe angle. Because you'll see that he actually takes like a lot of damage here and then he's scared away from the angle. And these guys recognize this and like could jump for the opportunity right away. Opener needs to be here to boop this. Like that's non-negotiable, and he just can't because he's scared for his life. So now Chopper ends up in like this really awkward situation because they're getting two-man dove, and this is just such a nice map flip because now suddenly, and also like I don't know how does Tap get out? Does he just double blink? He must, right? Yeah, so he just double blinks here. But now you end up in this really awkward situation where CJ and Riker are looking this way at Tab. Chopper and Opener are dealing with, the Knights of the Apocalypse here, the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And meanwhile, Zeb is just getting, yeah, he's on point. He's vibing. So like, this isn't terrible for Timeless, but it's very clearly disarray and not what they had hoped for. So Chopper gets focused down, surprise, surprise. Um, Rocket, Riker, and CJ, kind of waste their time. It's kind of whatever. Rocket gets cooked. And at this point, if you're Timeless, you're like, okay, well, we've lost our Soj, and that's kind of like, the key piece for getting things done a lot in this comp. So let's just reset it. They have 2 fights. It's all chill. They're going to hit a big ult spike in 1 or 2 fights. Now this is an interesting one, because this is a fight that ideally Timeless would want to win. But they know that Lethal has OC, which could get really ugly. So they position pretty like normal, for what we'd expect. And they're pretty clearly having their Sojin main because they're planning to use Rush. At least I believe that's the plan. But like once again, look at what Rocket is doing, man. This is really good at chill. I like farming the Orisa here. You see tap there, but like, dude, you're just triple blinked. How are you gonna have any uptime here? Like, the fact that Tap is scared of this, I think is crazy to me. Because Tap has all of his blinks. I think he should be able to just press this. Maybe he does. Yeah, he does. See, like, there's the recall. And, like, I'm just not feeling the impact from Rocket here. And maybe I'm, like, disproportionately focusing on him here. Because we look at this. Zeb is getting cooked, but that's fine if they pull back.
This ends now.
But, like, Rocket is doing a lot of doing right now. And Chopper really isn't. I mean, he's, denying this. But, like, I don't know. It's a little weird. It's a little awkward. More importantly, once again, CJ is rushing in the open without cover when he could have, done this rush yet again. Or this rush if he even wanted to get it over to Rocket. And if they really wanted to seal the deal, I honestly maybe would have preferred if they'd waited a couple seconds and maybe just tried to kite the OC. I don't know if this is even an option. Maybe that's like a suicidal here, but because Riker's in pretty deep. Chopper. Zeb probably just landed a good job on here. He's kind of a demon with those. Yeah, that's kind of whatever. It was close enough to cover that they couldn't, follow it up. But like, look, dude, CJ, man, like, look at this. Like, dude, this isn't okay to me. The fact that he is looking over here while standing in clear sightlines of an OC and Orisa. Like, what are you expecting to happen, bro? Even if you use Suzu there, you don't have it for your Orisa at like a critical point later in the fight, and she doesn't have very good kite back options here. Like that, to me, that's just like, this is just suicide. Who can use this rush effectively, bro? Like you, Orisa, great. That's not necessarily bad, but then those two better be safe. Like I would rather have you rush from here if it's going to be Orisa and you, and then you're in here spamming or something, or like any of the rushes from here on your Soj. Like this is just really poor play, I think, in terms of just like fundamental cover discipline and you know it's so like needlessly and pointlessly aggressive when the enemy team is literally like swinging around a sledgehammer over here. And at this point, it's basically lost. Like, Timeless just needs to die fast, which they do. And kudos to them. Now, they end up with their backs against their wall, probably more than they would like here. But this is still pretty comfortable for Timeless because they have the beat and the other team doesn't. And beat just has like a monstrous, unmatched. Like, I don't have numbers on its unmirrored win rate percentage, but from the eye test, I like most of the time when I see a team have beat and another team not have beat, the team with beat wins. Like it just. So Rocket gets the quick touch. That was really nice. He should probably just be kind of passive here and looking to mark. Let's kind of chill. There's the beat. Very nice. I like this aggression from Chopper and Riker because that really pushes them back, clears things out. That was okay from Rocket, sure, whatever. I It's a little bitter though because you look at this and you're like, well, dude, why the hell would we force a pulse bomb head on into this junk when and like burn our recall when A, we got the point control we wanted. B, that means now we're not able to lock this down like we wanted, and like really pressure tap and zap. We gotta play scared now. And then, C, uh, your Orisa has their ult. So like you could have just stuck this so damn easily. Like it would have just been like the easiest layup in the world. And like Rocket's like, oh yeah, no, let me go for the half court 3-pointer, Like that to me that's just really bad. Or even he could just like blink here and play way more aggressively from here because of having his blink or his recall. Or if he's afraid of getting tapped from here as he goes to stick this, he could pretty easily go for a stick there and then blink through. And like there's so many better options and he just goes for like the greediest one that just like not even greediest because there's not even like that much reward, just like the showiest, most difficult one for no reason. But Tap gets cooked because he's, doing things. Like, I mean, let's just take a look. I don't want to do him dirty here. Yeah, he's just also kind of been that was a nice stick. But he just kind of gets caught in the open here. And, that's kind of just what happens in these messy fights is things devolve. Like, Zeb is, way overextended right now relative to what he can sustain. Riker is, also getting cooked because of all the chaos. To be fair though, this I think like here's where things feel like really awkward to me once again for Timeless. Because you look at this, great, great, great. That was a beautiful Suzu. But this, like, is this CJ's job? I know he does a great job, and I know he kills top, but like, I would really love if Rocket was doing this. Or if CJ was maybe up here, like climbed up here, so he's just totally uncontested, and then spamming shots into these guys and healing Riker. Because notice while he's like sitting here missing shots on tap until he finally hits one, Riker is getting cooked, dog. Like Riker's like just absolutely eating it. And like I think if tap lives here, opener probably dies. Maybe maybe Chopper does too. I don't know. Maybe I'm trolling here. Maybe CJ did a big service for the world. I really just wish Rocket hadn't, from like tossed his recall out like nothing, early in the fight. I think that was really we're like playing with a man down this whole recontest. Like I, dude, maybe I'm trolling, but I feel like even if Opener and Chopper die to Tap and Zeb, I think if CJ, Riker, and Rocket just double down on killing these guys, then you have the even Orisa Lucio Tracer matchup. Maybe that doesn't favor them because, or sorry, Kiri Tracer Orisa. No, yeah, no, that should favor them because CJ is likely to hit rush pretty fast if he's healing Riker here. And yeah, it'd probably be fine. I don't know. It's kind of whatever, but I just wish Riker didn't have to die here. But you know, it's fine because they're able to trade out Zed when they had to get angle sub. I think you know what? I'll give CJ a pass on that. I think that was probably smart. When in doubt, I like to try and lean on
Score
towards
1,
benefit of the doubt for the players because they are much smarter
ready
about
for fight.
making good decisions live in game than I am. So like I like to, you know, analyze things, but oh yeah, I don't really like that Timeless just kind of stopped here for a second and like hovered. I think this is really bad. Like where's the desire, you know, to get this high ground? I'm not feeling the drive, you know, because I feel like if you get up here and throw down like a Soji really early here, you just get this high ground for free. Like, well, not literally for free, but like, you know, just drive your Orisa up here and like have her like kind of sit, you know, sit back here on like the crux, and you're probably chilling. This is nice from Tap. I like this a lot, actually. I think this is cute. They rotated with the team, but then he just stays here rather than rotating with them. So like Rocket's a little uncertain about where he is, and this gives him like pretty reasonable approach for being the one touching the point later without, you know, peeking himself. I like Tap's movement and positioning a lot on Tracer on the whole. It's not like always perfect. I think it I think he has a good mind for it though. I like this rollout from Rocket though too. I think it's pretty reasonable. Um, it just, you know, it's good. It's more by the books. Most by the books would be if teams were rolling out here, you know, sending your tracer around this way. But obviously, because both teams wanted to go the high ground here, um, either of these are pretty much fine, I think. So the reason you have Chopper just sitting down here is they've already recognized that this high ground can't really be won. So he's just going for like just as much cross pressure as possible, and that's going to happen from here and here. I think Riker should be playing this more aggressively probably, because he could just be hammering shots into Lethal and friends here, Lethal Company, Lethal and Company. Um, and CJ as well, I think should probably be trying to toss some kunai here and get heals on Riker, because I think Chopper and Opener kind of have this fine covered. And Rocket is in a really happy spot right here. I think this is really nasty because he's actually in a really good position to contest whoever's on point. So if you actually have Lethal, or sorry, if you have Chopper here, Rocket here, and your Risa kind of just clogging up the works here to make sure nobody pushes you, Timeless actually probably has better control of the point here than Red, than Citrus. Because Citrus, what they can do is they can kind of just keep their Risa up here, and but like their Cassidy doesn't actually have very good positioning to do anything against people like in here. He has very good leverage over the point, especially in scrappy fights. But I think Chopper is actually probably a bigger threat here than Lethal. Things that don't really go to plan though. So Verdings drops early, and that's super chill. But Rocket okay, he does manage to get the follow up there. So like Chopper and Rocket do like a really nice job with cleaning that up. And I like that Rocket just recalls that. That's perfect. And by the way, that's like I know I've been, you know, trolling like a bit, and
Disrupting.
you know, obviously not trolling, but like I've been rather harsh on Rocket. But once again, I want to iterate: this dude is a top tracer player. So he sees averting his drop there. No, he's not exposing himself to tap here. Goes for the finish, beautiful. And Chopper is there too. So like you have value at the same time. Rocket, check. Chopper, check. Riker, I think, could be pressing this a little more aggro once again. I don't think he's doing anything here. But in theory, he's like, yeah, at least looking at the Lucio. So that's pretty chill. And then Rocket recalling there, totally fine. He's got it in his value. He just needs to hold here now. Just chill. Literally just chill. Just and the only person who could possibly push him here is Tracer. So he should really just be watching for Tracer. I would even pull back all the way to here to make sure that she has to be in front of you. Or like pull back, like just play your life. That's literally all you got to do. This is really bad though, because by blinking back to his team, now Tap has access to their backs. And that puts them all in a really threatening situation, because now CJ is dropping to contest and like contest the Tracer bit, but now he has the TP, and now for some reason all of these guys drop back this way to like look at the point instead of, and they just give up the high ground that they just finally won. And the reason that you just I, maybe this sounds really troll. I don't think this high ground is like that good to use a lot of the times. It's like insane if you're like someone playing into a captured point. But in the first fight, I think the biggest reason you want this high ground is just to prevent people from doing this and like, like flanking your back line or whatever. So like it doesn't really sit with me well that Timeless are kind of just all stuck vibing there now because they got the early
The
pick
objective
on
is now active.
avertings, but now like what? No, nobody. We're just gonna ignore this dude up here, like for free. Like what happened? Like Chopper and like I just don't see what Riker's doing, man. I think Riker could push this so freely right now and like just javelin this dude off and then just be playing from up here like with this just insane off angle on Zeb while Rocket just contests the point. And I literally think it's like the freest fight win in the world. But Riker's just like AFK here, dog. Like because remember how we set up on University is we kind of wanted our Orisa guarding one of these like sides of the maps. So like if Orisa's here, sure, that's chill, right? Because this is kind of the outside of the fight, the outside edge of the fight. There's no one on red team further out to the right than Riker would be. So like, but Rocket's already got this side of the fight. He's already got the point contest. So like one of them should be up here, and Tracer likes forcing thing. She doesn't like forcing things head on as much, and like wasn't really her job to be pressing this high ground because she's like rolling out down here, um, kind of play that solo style. Right, this side of the map was supposed to be Riker's, man, and he's just not there. So the fact is if Lethal like ducks over this way, takes like a couple pot shots out of good timing, like when these guys aren't ready for it, it just all collapses. That's why this high ground is so dangerous. This functionally is not that much more dangerous to the people on point than this. I mean, yes, it is to a degree, but not like that much more. But like this is catastrophic if this comes down here uncontested. I like these blinks from Rocket though. Because if he recognizes, I think, that Riker is on point and that he wants to get on an angle and not force things head on. I think I would prefer instead of going this way, maybe just blink this way double, because it gives you a little more, cover and masking work behind the scenes. I think he just blinked this way because he wanted to like more immediately be shooting at Zeb with pressure. But it's good. It's all good. Either way, he ends up in the same place. And Zeb is like pretty much his fate is sealed here between Riker and Rocket. This is like I actually like that a lot from those two. But like I don't know what happens with opener though. Like does he just maybe he just gets javelined or something? Or no, he can't because he wasn't even looking at him. Yeah, he just gets caught on some weird geometry and like isn't doing anything, man. Like I just it doesn't feel like Timeless knows what to do with some of their people in terms of like how they're contributing. Like CJ is chill. His job is to stay connected to Riker and stay in a bunkered safe position. Chopper though, like his job is to be here when his Orisa's up here to clear this off, and then he can go up here, and like control this. Or like he could probably have swung out more aggressively on an angle here or something. But like opener is just kind of loitering here. And like he's not even like going for like spam poke here. Like I would rather have him going for poke here and like still, able to heal Chopper and whatnot than just like piling more damage on his Soj angle. Like that to me that just seems really like mediocre value. Yeah, and unfortunately Riker and Rocket just aren't quite able to lock that in on Zeb, but I liked that vision. I thought that was a good vision for a play because Zeb like gets pulled out really far, having to spin towards Rocket to stay alive, and now Timeless has really nice point control, and this flip from Chopper is super nice actually. But here's where a problem occurs: is uh that Cassidy guy, um he's starting to get into that problem position, and we gotta deal with that, man. Like that's not negotiable. And meanwhile, Chopper, he sees that neutral somehow ended up out here. Neutral was scared and TP'd to Zeb, and or well, scared of Zeb, or I don't know if he's scared of Zeb dying or scared for his own safety. But either way, he flips the map. Chopper sees this and presses it. Chopper cannot afford to call for assistance here. This is trolling. Neutral is so far out of the fight, man. You gotta press this cast in the meanwhile. Like this guy needs to die. He is the power play. He's the threat. Just sitting up here uncontested. And like CJ TPing here, this is so unbelievably troll to me. He needs to stay connected to Riker. Like that's not negotiable. He needs to duck this. He could duck this way. Like if he's worried about Cass coming down here, he could even like take the Cass on in a duel and use the Suzu when he gets stuck or something. Riker and him could double up this way, which is what I personally recommend. Or, just Riker sitting here and him sitting here. That's totally chill too. He can't afford to TP here. He just can't. Rocket can afford to triple blink over here. I don't, love it. I think Chopper should just be able to take this guy out on his own, or just be not that really worried about it, because Neutral isn't really doing anything here. He's basically been, functionally taken out of the fight for a solid bit of time. But the fact that we send, the whole Avengers here to finish off a 6 HP Curie when Chopper gets the final blow anyways. And then Riker, they like this is really kudos on Citrus Nation. They recognize that Riker is super pushable here, and they just crunch him. Like imagine if CJ was here though. He didn't do anything over there, so we're not missing anything over there. We just hit a Suzu right now and are healing this guy. Riker can chill, he can stabilize, he lives long enough to have spin up, and then suddenly you have Chopper and Rocket coming back in and lethal dead. And you just caught these guys in a pinch. And Rocket dies, trying to press too fast because he's worried about Riker, and Riker's is dying. Like that. So like that fight, you have opener kind of just meandering around without a game plan. But then you have too many people getting pulled to the wrong angles and not like addressing the real map control that matters. This is pretty chill. Um, is Rocket underneath? No. That's kind of chill having him here, I guess. I don't love it. I'd kind of rather he just ruled out from here, I think. But it's kind of whatever. I don't mind this at all. It's just that there's a little bit of chance that he might like take a random kunai to head or something stupid. But it's okay. Because he does help force that out, which is nice. Okay, like Riker, dude, like you're not doing anything here that matters. Like please, please just play up to here. Please, I'm begging you, bro. A single javelin here well aimed just knocks someone off the high ground as easy pickings for Rocket and Chopper. Like it's so free, man. Please just play here. But like he's just sitting here like poking, and the timer is just ticking up. Maybe they're like trying to build a rush, but I just don't think that's a very good play because you don't have a good rush set up here. Rocket's kind of just, taking poke damage from top. Like, look at how well Citrus is playing this. They just have their Orisa just sitting up here controlling the high ground as their Tracer plays for the point. Their Cass and Lucio play down here, and their Kiri stays connected to their Orisa, but really Kiri probably could be up here if she wanted, and she might have some better opportunities for picks and more LOS on tap, but it's fine. Maybe she's worried about getting dove or something. I think it's kind of troll that Zeb is dropping, but I guess tap needed to tap out, so to speak. Um, but like we're chilling, chilling, chilling. Like what? Like why are we going for this, man? Is like this isn't your job. This isn't your angle to mark. Like because tap is effectively zoned out if you just stay here. Like he can't do anything. And like I know you want to like greed this, but then this is an even duel at best because he just turns around and we don't have anyone else with LOS on tap here. Maybe he's not even like that low on resources. It's like I just think this is and like Chopper wants his greedy angle, but dude, this is open. This is open. You could just roll up here, slap down an E, and then like threaten to like poke this way with rail or something, or and this LOS on tap, is that like not something that you want? They just gave you the high ground for free, and you just like this side, he's going like so out of his way to get this side of the map when they literally just handed him this side of the map. That's like so much closer. Like this is like you're like rolling up to an amusement park or something, and you're looking for parking in their parking lot, and like oh like some guy just pulled out in the front row that you could just take their parking spot, but you decide to like drive up like a ramp or something and do like a triple flip over three cars and land in the back row. And then you have to like, walk all the way to the entrance. Like it doesn't make sense to like go through so many hoops and like put yourself in so much danger to get this angle when you literally have this side of the map for free. Like rotate here. They gave it up. You don't have to rotate along this side of the map. In fact, it's probably more strain for you to do this and less effective because this is that spirally map control that we talked about. You're either going counter or you go even. Like there's two options. Right now, the going counter would be if if Chopper just pushed along this side of the map that got opened up because Tap is already over here occupying this. They rotate around coast because Tap is rotating around this way. But for some reason, Chopper is choosing to take the match style, um, where he's going to match Tap, and we already have Rocket and friends over on this side. Except like this isn't there isn't a force coming from the opposite side here. Like you could just play it for free. Maybe there's something I'm missing, man. I would hate to, you know, have some oversight here. I just think this doesn't make much sense, especially because now you're flipping CJ this way, and great. Like who's the angle? Like I mean, Rocket is here, but like he's out of the fight, and we're all still trying to contest point. Like you're telling me this is your brilliant plan for concerted pressure at the same timing from different, angles to force people off this point. Because Chopper goes over here and CJ, TPs because he's kind of scared for Chopper. Again, because it's, a decent angle for Curie too. And I guess you could have your Soj press to here and Curie be here and Arisa push here. And that's like, reasonable. But once again, if Lethal recognizes this and just rotates up to here, there's not really anything blue team can do about it. Another thing is Riker pushes across this way instead of this way because he's kind of worried about this cast. So he actually, is spinning this way to try and be able to block more of them at once. But then in the process, these guys are actually having their angle lessened in value. So Chopper kind of like he goes to this weird position and then he doesn't even continue around the edge of the map like he needs to. Like if you're going around to meet this side of the map, meet it, win your side. The goal isn't just to sit there locking hands unless you have control of the point, then it's kind of okay. The goal is, get here, eradicate top, and then turn on this Orisa because there's no one out here pressuring you, right? If Chopper did this, brilliant. Suddenly that, great, worked out perfectly. But he doesn't. He just sits here in main, and Riker also just sits here in main, and Tap just doesn't get contested, and Rocket is just like totally forced out of the fight. And for some reason, Tap isn't here. He's just probably cooking Riker in the meanwhile, but I think he could really be like he should really be thinking about this because with single good javelin there is just over. But like dude, like Lethal man, like he's just under like okay, that was pretty funny. How does Rocket get up there that fast? Does he just blink through? That was better than I expected actually. If Rocket actually went, that was smart from Rocket. Because if that isn't addressed, Lethal just wins that fight over time for Red. So that's actually really well played from Rocket. Chopper finally takes the more aggro angle, but then he just doubles back. The rushes. Same timing. I'm not a big fan of neutrals rush. I think it's like fine. Um, Actually no, I like it because if Zeb pushes up to here, which is probably the goal, he's probably pretty happy. CJ's rush I think is a little awkward. I would have rather had it on this side of the pillar because then he could have it going from here to here. And he and the Soj could probably use it a little more comfortably from here. And then you could have, Riker using it from in cover rather than like out here because this isn't like super comfy because then he's exposed to, neutral doing 1,000 kunai per second. Um, Rocket is doing a good job of cooking Zeb here. But like this from Rocket, beautiful chef's kiss. Like that's really nice. And then and of course, it's really funny watching Lethal get knocked off there from Riker. And neutral ends up out of position. But like once again, dude, CJ with his rushes, I like like why is he not here? You know, and rushing this way so that he can like actually, just be spamming at Lethal instead of that spamming at this horse who's designed to be spammed at. And like, at least force this guy out and then do that, An opener really should be marking Tap here. Like he can't really afford to worry about this. That's kind of just got to be for something for Chopper and CJ to deal with. Like the fact that he's like now has to do 180 Suzu because he's just, generically scared of this situation and then doesn't have it for himself, has the TP, and then walks right up into this again. Like, it just feels really stressful. Like, I think he could make his life a lot easier for himself with just a little more caution earlier in the fights. Yeah, and then like even with that coming in from that pick on lethal coming in from Rocket and Riker, if you like really, look at this, we have Orisa, Lucio, Curie, but like dude, look at Tap. He's the threat here. Like look at Tap. Look at Tap. Look at him. Watch this. Oh, like dude. And actually, how does that not kill? I thought CJ used Suzu already. Yeah, there's the Suzu. Oh, okay, it hit CJ instead of Chopper. Right. Okay. Like, look at this. We put all of this effort into like pressing this side of the map and trying to have this as ours, and then we just don't even ever bother to win it enough to use it. Like, say, kill Zeb here. And Tap actually comes in from this side of the map, so we don't control this side of the map. Because, neutral's still up here. And, I mean, Rocket kind of helped with that, so maybe we kind of do, but we're not, like, putting much of mental energy into it because most of our team is over here. And then, well, guess what? Tap is over here, too. Um, and, like, he's kind of just farms the cleanup here, man. And, like, the fact that, like, Chopper's, like, looking this way, that way, Opener's, like, scrambling, like, I know he's not, like, hitting that much tick mark damage, but, like, the fact that Tap is there is just nail in the coffin for Timeless, because they have to look at him. If they don't, he does get that clean out. Here's basically, like, the same formula for how they approach this from both teams, except this time we actually see Timeless push for the high ground. And this is really nice from Lethal and Zeb to kind of push for that. And Riker just, gets crunched. Yeah, he just didn't think that they had LOS. That's kind of just unlucky, honestly. If you like really wanted to like look at things here, Riker is taking a lot of damage here. I think instead of bothering with like goofing around and playing patty cake, I think maybe Chopper should have just popped OC and slid up to here. Maybe that's Giga Troll. Maybe Zeb just javelins him off and like then he just gets rolled by Tap or something. Like I think maybe Timeless could have afforded to be a little more explosive here. Um, or like if Riker just fortified right here, right now, and let his team like press this up more, slap down a Soji right there, get your Lucio set up like up here like he wants to be. Um, let your Tracer kind of branch out to wherever she wants to go. Maybe, like if we could get more people on the high ground, maybe we wouldn't have to feel the need to back up from this high noon so much. And we could have, done a little something more with it. But as it stands, it's kind of unfortunate that ends up like this. Rocket, I think I rather would have had him just link to here so that he can mark Tap. I think this takes him a little too far out of the fight. But yeah, that's just really unfortunate. At this point, it's pretty much just done. You don't win your fights when you're down your Orisa. And I know I've spent a copious amount of time on just this one map. I will be going through the other two maps. I fully plan to. But this video will probably just be this one map. This is nice from Rocket. It's a little overextended though compared to the space that Timeless is trying to take. And note that he kind of has to just peel back. I like this setup. I really, really like this setup from Citrus. I think Tap is positioned very reasonably proportioned to Zeb already being up here. And I really like having Lethal and Jacob over here because I think even if Timeless puts like a concerted effort into trying to clear out any of these angles, I think they have pretty reasonable coverage as long as any of these sides are willing to peel back. So like if Lethal and Jacob get pushed, they need to be willing to pull back here so that Zeb and Neutral get this off angle. And then Tap needs to realize that he needs to kind of cut in and stack on middle if that happens. Same case with if these guys all push out Tap, Tap needs to recognize I need to pull back. Zeb and Neutral need to come in for the angle. And then Lethal and Jacob kind of cut into the middle and then towards Tracer this way to stay at an off angle. So like as long as you have people like willing to, you know, cut and move, I think that's super super chill. So like it's interesting that Riker
We're out of chances. This ends here.
I don't get why he's so hesitant here to play close. Because I think if he plays here, like that would make a lot of sense. Because if he's playing here, that would double down on making sense for having Rocket over here. Because then like he doesn't have to be worried about getting spammed from this side. And he could even probably hunker down. Like he could even go into here and have Curie TP to Rocket and just get the pocket. Like you could just have your Curie pocketing your Orisa inside this thing, and your Curie's out here. Your Tracer's like here marking this angle a little bit, and then you keep your Soj Lucio over here to kind of spam people out who might try and shoot your Orisa from this side. And that would just like probably be a pretty robust setup. You could also have your Orisa push this way. I'm a less of a fan though here because then Tap can farm from this side, but it does mean that their Orisa is probably more likely to want to go this way because you're like already matching this side and dealing with it, and that you have covered with your Tracer here and your Soj here. So like both sides are probably fine. But like if your Tracer is like staging and posturing this aggro or like this far up, it doesn't make sense that like I think this is the correct play for Rocket. Let me make that clear. I don't think we should just be sitting on our butts with our Orisa and just not taking this space. I think we should just be playing up to mid here. But yeah, we're just sitting there poking. Now we see this beautiful setup emerge from Citrus, and like Timeless is kind of just sat around doing nothing. Um, it feels like Chopper maybe just doesn't take as much ownership with his play as I would like for some of these angles. Well, no, I don't want to say that because he actually has found some pretty good solid angles throughout the fights. I think Riker tends to have some kind of wonkiness on his which, you know, parts of the map he's playing. Because remember, if he's posturing, like I don't think he looks at, you know, what part of the map he's trying to control necessarily when he's playing like this. But I don't know. Maybe I'm like misunderstanding it because he's probably a pretty smart player. I don't know. I haven't worked with him personally ever. Um, but yeah, Rocket's just really going through it, man, because like it sucks that these guys are up here and like I would rather have Rocket like down here ready to pinch this with people like man, I don't even know. Like it just kind of blows because like our Reese is so passively positioned that they're not doing anything no matter what. Because like you would want to have your Reese crossfire here to set up your Tracer here. And I think this is a little more comfy for Tracer too, this whole zone, because that just has a little more cover. Yeah, and like opener just gets tapped by the combo, so this is just whatever. Yeah, I think if you really look at it granularly, he has no business crossing here. Like this isn't. If Chopper and him wanted to go this way, then Chopper should be over here or like ready to slide over here. If Chopper wanted to be this way, opener should be here. Like he should. They can't just. You can't just jump across the gap and like you're rolling a dice here. And if you roll a one, yeah, it's unlucky, but you did roll a dice, understanding that there's a chance that you might roll a one. Because he just gets tapped by the javelin follow-up combo. And now at this point, Rocket like pinches in here, and I think that just makes things even worse. I think Rocket should probably be here right now, because we need someone to cover our butts. Because now Tap is gonna follow, and the fact that we don't have Rocket here just like waiting to cover is kind of brutal, and that he's just stacked with the team. Because Riker, Chopper, and CJ can kind of handle whatever comes this way just fine, but we need someone covering our chess pieces. And the fact that like none of these guys know where to look, they're just kind of forced to back further and further out, is really, really unpleasant. And Rocket like goes for the point control anyways. I think this is just kind of pointless. They get the pick on Lethal. Lethal might have been trolling a little bit.
The objective is now
My guess is his team put too many eyes on Rocket. Oh, his positioning is just a little sloppy. So like right here, as soon as he got up to here, he should be hugging this cover right now. Because then as soon as Chopper peeks this, he just ducks behind this and breaks the LOS. But because he's positioned so wide away from his cover, he can't actually update his angle that fast. And he tries to go this way, thinking this is cover, or like back when this is actually his cover point. So he's not like really thinking about where his cover point is. And even if he didn't, this puts him actually uncomfortably close to Rocket, who might be able to finish it up. So I think it was just kind of sloppy cover usage once again. Because if he had been playing tightly on the cover, he would have way more control over that and just not have taken this much damage, force Suzu, all that. Rocket might have actually been looking for the finish on Lethal there, which is pretty nice, if he was. I don't like this from Riker. I think this... So here we're kind of assuming that everybody has been cleared on this side of the map. It's not true because Tap is over here, but we're assuming that this little point circuit is like the only map, so to speak. If your Curie is here, your Orisa should just be here. Because if she's rotating around here, she's gonna break LOS on the Curie. Curie isn't gonna have a clean TP to here, because your Soj then would want to be playing here. Your Soj and Orisa gotta be on these separate angles to make sure that Zeb can't have good cover to stabilize. So I would rather have Riker just here and maybe pushing up to here, and then Sojourn like playing here, or like sliding to here, or like something like this, you know. But that's not happening. Or if Riker is going here, he needs to stop over here briefly to let CJ TP and like have this, and then he can press up. And Rocket just can just kind of do whatever. Good marking on top. Yeah, so they end up, you know, on the opposite sides here. Is like kind of what it turns out fine probably. But like this is Riker's just taking a lot of damage. I don't feel like CJ's able to heal that comfortably. It's nice from Rocket. Rocket did pretty well that fight. But like, so you look at this though, and you're like, oh, first of all, where? It's like this looks good. I would have liked if Tap went to here. I think he was on the high ground. Maybe I'm tripping. Oh, he was low ground. Okay. No, he was high ground. Yeah, he should have. Maybe he missed it, because this would have been super free, honestly. Like just spamming down from the high ground, but it's not bad where he ended up. This is still like super menacing, but Rocket once again, like, dude, what are you smoking, bro? You can't go this deep. Like, this is insane. Like, he doubles back to here, but I think that's actually just worse for his team than if he double blinked this way to just contest top. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping, but maybe I'm not seeing something. I'll just give him benefit of the doubt. It's probably fine. But like, the awkward thing here though is look how aggressively Chopper is positioned. And that's because we see Zeb back out. but like Riker and Rocket are like doing air right now. And it's not their fault. Like there's not that much they should be doing right now. They're just kind of trying to deal with tap or whatever. But like the fact that like Riker isn't like here anchored shooting at these guys to contain them. Rocket is like, here shooting these guys to contain them and then also having Chopper here, then that's fine. But the fact is these guys are able to just swing and like, well, where's our Rocket? Well, he's like, doing weird things and like trying to rotate around across half the map instead of, using the angle they just triple blinked to. And where's our Riker? Well, he's like, looking at the tracer. And then our Soldier's just getting like cooked because these guys are like all turning on this dude who's positioned way more aggro than the rest of his team is really playing. And like, dude, I don't even know what opener is doing, man. Like, I don't know, man. That's just like, why is Riker looking at him if we're having opener mark him? Like, that just doesn't make sense. Like, from a tactical perspective, I know it's probably just like not being talked about. Like, everybody's, it's just a scramble. But like, you gotta know who's gonna be marking who in what situations. like, like once again, the like Rocket Man, I don't get what he's doing. Like, look at this. We're on top. He's looking like head on. This is cool. And then he's like, what is this? What is this? Like, why not just blink backwards to here and chill for a second, or like blink twice like to here, instead of blinking head on into people. Because the thing that's insane to me is he goes here and he's like farming these, Zeb now. And he's taking lots of damage. This is like an uncomfortable position, and then he does it again. Like, dude, you were just here. Why did we then go to here and then farm like blink to here if you're just going to be here again? Like, this cannot be the most efficient way to be using your blinks. Surely it would have been better to just stay here or blink to and just stay controlling this side of the map and dedicating blinks to that and like be more aggressively marking tap so that your Risa and Lucio and Soj can like more effectively focus on other things. Like, imagine if Tracer just played here, Orisa just played here, Kiri just played like, here, back here somewhere, and then Soj just played this with Lucio, and it was like marking this. Like, that would just be insane for Soj. But no, like Rocket is just doing weird things, man. Like, he's like, it feels like he's like a dog chasing like whatever is like bouncing. And like, once again, these aren't like necessarily incorrect plays. He's a very good and smart player, and like I know he has good reasoning behind these. But like, it's just weird, man. It can't be more like, it cannot be good more. Like, I refuse to believe the most efficient course of action is to blink triple across the map, do a little bit of things here, and then triple blink across to this side of the map. Like, no, no, Tracer can do it. I don't think that's her best use though of her mobility. Surely not, right? And then somehow, we all end up stacked anyways. It's like Chopper, I don't know why he's like peeking this so wide and like dropping back. I think Chopper and neutral, like Chopper and opener should really just be over here. Like, opener is literally just AFK, dog. Like, I don't know what he's doing. Because if we have our Lucio and Soj over here, they can meet up really easily for this full team kite back if we want. But then you have this, chess piece once again, where if these guys push in, now we have our Lucio and Soj marking this, and we don't have to just, give up everything. And like Rocket, once again, bro uses up all his blinks and ends up on top of the team. And like, look how free this is for Citrus. They're like, oh, geez. Um, looks like Timeless just gave up the entire map for us. So then Lethal peels out this way. Tap peels out this way, probably to go like full deep later. Zeb and Lucio peel out this way with neutral. That's totally fine. I like Lucio better with Soj, but it's like in this situation because our Reese is trying to close the distance more. It's totally good for Lucio to be with her. And like, look how little leverage now Timeless has over the point. Like Rocket is getting cooked from behind. He has to like do these weird things again. It's a miracle he's had as much uptime as he had there. No, but like, look at this. It's like, are you a psychopath? Like, bro, why are you not? Like, I would rather have us just invest 2 blinks right now, or like 1 blink and then like walk a little to try and like, you know, get some attention from these two than sit here from main poking into these guys head on, forcing in a like a weird, you know, fast stick and then ending up here. Like, I mean, shocker, they were able to eat it when we have a pulse coming head on. And then we blink in again. Like that, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Because like right here, you can literally just stay right here and do that job. And you've actually done a brilliant job if you've did that. Like I'd ignore all this stuff because that was like whatever, it turns out fine. If you play right here, I'm pretty sure Timeless just wins this fight. Because Tap has pretty good leverage here, but it's not great because Chopper can swing out pretty wide this way. So basically, unless Lethal swings out really aggro this way, but he would kind of hesitate to, I think, because I don't think he has rail quite yet. Um, and he's like less charge on OC. I'm pretty sure Timeless just wins this fight, like for sure, if Rocket just stays here and just keeps farming Zeb, like marking this to keep people from pushing it. But instead he like does weird things and blinks in, gets rail hit, and like even if he recalls there, like there was just no point to like blinking in and like doing weird aggro things. Like bro needs to be way more patient with this stuff. Like comparatively, like look at how Tap is handling his angle. Like he's way more chill, you know. He's very far from being a perfect Tracer player. Like it's not like, you know, Tap is the greatest player alive, but and I think he's probably worse at Tracer maybe on that than Rocket. I don't know, but like in terms of his positioning and like just, you know, being willing to chill and play for the map, I think he's like way above Rocket from what I'm seeing this match.
This ends
Yeah, so
now.
Timeless should win this.
This ends now.
That was really beautiful. So like here, we see Riker rolling out, we see CJ connected behind, we see the Lucio and Soj. We're playing for controlling this side of the map because we see them on this side of the map. And then we make it nice and we go nice and deep. Once again, I think Rocket is doing weird things. But this slide in from Chopper and Opener being here to support this with the beat, uh, that is nice. And I like CJ TPing to here to update this to be a more aggro angle while staying connected to Riker, because he knows Riker is going to be swiveling around this as like kind of the core point. So now Riker actually effectively ends up as the angle. And like Chopper is just positioned so aggro, and like Lethal cannot deal with this from like this pressure from the Orisa and the Soj from both these angles. Rocket is AFK. I really would have liked if like honestly, like if you know your Soj is here, I really would have preferred if he just like went here.
This ends now.
Because think about how easy it would be to like farm Tap here now,
This ends
and like bro's eating it, or like even just peeking this to like farm Lethal a little bit, or even like one blink more and you can like clean up these guys. Like I think he would have so much more leverage if he stopped playing like a weirdo and blinking across the map every couple of seconds, and instead just played the side of the fight that he was going to be on. Like, or it like don't commit to the recall there, dude. You're not doing anything. Like you literally just blink here and play this on low health and just like try and get attention and like maybe grab the mini. You would do more from here getting picked off and making Lethal look this way than recalling this way and like doing air. I just, I'm really unimpressed with what I've been seeing from Rocket this game, and I don't want to like put all the blame on him because I know there's weird stuff from Riker, and I know there's been some weird stuff from like Chopper and Opener too, and CJ. Like I'm putting blame on like all these guys, and it's not like Citrus has been pushing crazy perfect things either, but I have been much more impressed by just the way that they use their tracer in proportion to the rest of their team. I think is looking a lot better connected. As I say that. Um, 7 top here is a little weird and redundant, but kind of whatever. Lethal and Jacob are going to be looking to swing this pretty aggressively because they want to match this longer sight line. Neutral and Zeb are here. That's pretty chill. I think Tap is literally just here because he doesn't know where Rocket is yet. And but if you're rotating your team around here, you've already pretty much committed to controlling this side of the map. So I would kind of prefer if we either have Tap, like I would rather have Tap either commit to rotating around aggressively here or playing to match back here, maybe. And that would still probably be chill. Yeah, so he does go to kind of mark Rocket. And that's really nice from Top. I'm gonna kind of do this at a little bit accelerated pace here because it's been going on for a while now. We see them caught. Lethal's in a good angle. Chopper's kind of contained. Opener probably just got like caught on something again. Kind of got unlucky again. This is probably a better. Both rushers are pretty reasonable. Rocket and Tap are both kind of out of the fight, so that's kind of neutral. Yeah, I think Zeb just hit a really nice result here in coordinates with like in timing with Lethal being in at the same time here. Timeless lost that fast. They should have one more fight, but it's gonna be messy. Rocket didn't really have time to try for that. They press. Lethal and Jacob are on a crazy angle. Oh, nice. They got marked. So they should just be able to take care of that now. That's really nice from Tap, pulling out to the side there. And that's good that he was able to win that over Rocket, because that kind of opened things up on this side of the map for these guys and let them be able to deal with Chopper and Opener here. Zeb is kind of getting cooked, but they have the beat, so that's good. And then now Riker's just he's going to be eating damage in a couple seconds. Rocket gets caught. I wonder what that happened. How does Rocket end up there? Yeah, he's just crossing into the middle of the fight here to deal with Top. And then gets booped, does a nice boop. Yeah, it's just chaos. So yeah, we'll have to see how the other maps go. It just looks like fundamentally we see like better mid-fight positioning from Citrus Nation than Timeless. Timeless has pretty reasonable setups a fair bit of the time, but especially with the way that Rocket marks or fails to mark angles and the way that Opener and Chopper are kind of on some of their angles, and then the way that Riker and CJ sometimes disconnect or like weirdly positioned relative to cover. It's just kind of a mess. So I'll just leave it there for the moment. But we'll see how the next maps looked compared to this one in a bit.